A lot of the stuff, just because they've done things a certain way, doesn't mean they have to. And some of the legal language in her contracts seems to suggest that Disney could do what it wanted to do here, especially because of the pandemic. And obviously, Disney made that comment when I thought their comment was a little classless when they were talking about her being, using COVID as an excuse. But COVID is an excuse. And actually, it's changed everything and allowed these studios to accelerate what was already happening, which was a move to streaming. And this is something I've said a lot. I interviewed Jason Kylar of Warner Brothers when he did it. I've talked about it. I know a lot of people in Hollywood find it irritating, but the fact of the matter is everything's going to streaming. And so this will be part of the equation, not crazily unlike when it went to CDs or when it went to VHSs. This was, and it's figuring out where the economics is here is really where the rubber hits the road. And I think that's what they're arguing about, and not about previous ways people have done business. But for all intents and purposes, streaming is going to be at the center, not theatrical. And that's how these companies get judged. You look at how much Disney went up when it talked about streaming or when it talks about growth in streaming. And that's what Wall Street's interested right now, not about how many tickets they sell at the box office, although that's great.
Although the flip side that I've seen lately was that the power of Johansson's agency at CAA would allow actors to sort of collectively argue for perhaps more. I wondered, is this all going to get smoothed out? Is it just a natural growing pain as distribution changes so dramatically?
Yeah, I think the agents are trying to show that they count still. At some point there was fighting between agents and these stars, too, about what their value is. And I think someone like Brian Lord, who's a really important agent in Hollywood, has got to show like he's going to get in there and fight for their client. I just finished watching all the seasons of Call My Agent, so I'm kind of in that mode. But one of the things that's important here is that this is the way it's going, and therefore new economic models have to be shown. I mean, there was a very interesting interview with Matt Damon where he talked about movies not being the same way it is, and that they're going into superheroes and things like that, where you can interchange these actors, and that star vehicles don't necessarily, a Matt Damon movie is not what people want. It's whatever it is. It's not Robert Downey Jr., it's Iron Man. And you could switch him out. I hate to say that. I think he's very charming and he's great in the part, but he's not what makes or breaks those stories. And so that's where it's going, and that's what's worrisome. And then if you go even further out, I tweeted a story this week about YouTube stars that are completely fictional, like they're stars. They're stars on YouTube that are voiced by real actors, but they're made up in a virtual world. So you can see where this is going. And so stars have every right to be concerned. They should be paid for their contribution to this. But it's the advantage is with these studios and the technology companies at the same time that are making these things. And the technology companies will be moving in here relatively soon, I think, in a couple of years.